Hello and welcome to our webinar, Rest in Peace Tape Backups for IBM Power Systems, iSeries, AS400, System I, AIX, and Linux. My name is Axe Signer, Vice President of Solutions here at Electronic Storage Corporation, celebrating over 30 years in data storage solutions. We are located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We in Tulsa have our own programming staff and also our own technical support staff here at our Tulsa office. So it's time to let your tape backups rest in peace once and for all. So today's discussion, we're going to talk about what's wrong with tape, what is a better alternative, and how do you get there from here. So a quick recap, drawbacks of using tape, slows down operations. Tapes are at risk with human error, mislabeling tapes, broken tapes, lost tapes, stolen tapes, tapes that cannot be read. So certain issues like that you might be dealing with in terms of tapes, but there's certainly risks of dealing with physical tape. Managing, storing, and transporting tapes all require manual processing, manual labor in order to accommodate dealing with tapes that you're using for your backups. Requires someone to be on site, so whether you're going in on site on a weekly basis or daily basis, or even monthly basis to change out tapes, to take tapes off site, bring tapes back on site that may be stored off site in order to reuse those tapes and put them back into rotation. This all requires a lot of time in dealing with being on site. And if you're having to work from home, which a lot of folks are, that might be an issue for you. Slow recovery speed. Certainly if you're having to go and retrieve a tape from an offsite storage location, but tapes, restoring from tape in general, the speed of which is very slow, where as comparison, restoring from disk is quite a bit faster. So eliminate the many risks and delays that come with using manual tape, and including having to take tapes off site. That's what we're going to talk about today in terms of a better alternative, as well as save time by shortening your backup windows. So in many cases, our customers have witnessed backup times cut in half with disk-to-disk backup compared to backing up to tape. Save more time with faster recoveries, faster recovery speeds, and faster recovery in itself being that all of your tapes are online, always accessible. No matter the age of those tapes, you could always have those tapes online, so it's easily to get to them from working from home even, to where you can select a tape, have it automatically loaded into the system, and recover what you need. And recovery speeds are faster, up to twice as fast compared to tape. Eliminate the need to have an operator on site, manage your backup and recovery from anywhere. So our solution does include a web interface. It's simple to use, where you can actually go and see all of your tapes that you've been backing up to, easily select a tape to restore from, or even simply just using your software, whether it's Robot Save or BRMS, to actually manage all those tapes. But you don't have to be on site to change out tapes weekly, daily, or even a monthly basis. Archive and retention automatically. So the ability to archive your backups. So if you do have a requirement to store certain backups for a lengthy amount of time, the solution has a way for you to archive those tapes, set retention on tapes that you want to store, to make it easily automated, as comparing to having to deal with tapes and labels and offsite tapes. Seamless integration provides immediate ROI. And really what that means is that you're immediately able to start to use a disk-to-disk backup solution, usually on day one of the solution being installed, because it simply uses your existing backup processes to save to disk, because it's just like saving a tape. So your backup processes will be the same. And that means from day one, you could start backing up to disk and replacing tape immediately. Virtual tape and tape library solution for IBM I. So simplify operations, reduce or eliminate the use of tapes. Save backups to hard disk, on a server, SAN, NAS, deduplication appliance like Exagrid, Cohesity, Rubric. There's several others out there on the market. But this is what makes our product pretty unique in the fact that you can use existing disk storage or deduplication appliance for your iSeries virtual tapes. This means that you could leverage existing storage. Additional storage wouldn't cost you, additional appliance or a server with storage, because you can use existing storage if you have that for your backups. And also, if you're using a backup appliance already for other platforms, such as your Windows servers and other platforms, it's possible that you could use that storage also, or that backup appliance, to store all your virtual tapes. So it makes the solution easily integrated with your existing backup solution. Backup to cloud for another layer of data protection. So a lot of talk has been about cloud storage. Well, one of the key things with this is being able to keep a copy of your backups. This could actually be a third copy of your backup, because we're also going to talk about replicating from one location to another, to where you're automatically going to have copies of your backups for disaster recovery. But cloud is an option for that, to where you could easily make copies of your backups, and that would be an automated process to cloud storage, and that you would always be able to have access to those files and bring them back to be able to restore from. Integration with BRMS, Robot Save, and other backup software commands. This is the benefit of virtual tape and virtual tape library capabilities, is that you use your existing backup procedures, your existing backup software, your existing backup retentions in order to use virtual tape. So it makes it really simple. High-speed backup, rapid recovery. I mentioned before, it can be up to twice as fast as your tape, even faster in some cases. Rapid recovery of your data. Always have your tapes available at any time, 24/7. Those tapes are available for you to restore data if you need it. No limit on size of virtual tapes other than disk space. This is pretty important, because if your current backup takes more than one physical tape, in this case, it will always only take one virtual tape. Or if you have an existing VTL solution in which you have a limit on each of the virtual tapes in terms of how much data you can write to those tapes, there is no limit with the LaserVault solution. More options for more drives, more slots than tape without adding additional hardware, and we're going to talk about that when we go into actually showing you a little bit about the product. So if you look at some comparisons to LTO tape and Vital, there's a pretty big difference between even LTO 8 write speed compared to Vital, with up to 550 megabytes per second and up. We've had customers, depending on how many virtual tape drives that they're using, go as high as 2 gig a second. And that's really fast in terms of backup speed. So you could literally cut your backup time in half compared to tape. So we're going to take a look at how Vital works compared to using manual tape. The first thing I want to show you is that with the VTL solution, you're going to have a new tape library on your system. So mine is TAP MLB V1. It has a tape device assigned to it. So that is a tape library. So to the iSeries, if we take a look at the attributes, a 3573 tape library to the iSeries. And so this is actually going to have, if we do a 9 on that, we can do a 9 on that and actually see all of the inventory of tapes that are stored in that tape library, that virtual tape library. So you can see that it behaves exactly the same way as a tape library. Using this with Robot Save or BRMS, that's going to automatically load and unload your tapes for saves and restores. This does the exact same thing. So it emulates that automation of being able to perform automated backups and restores, using the retention that you have set in those products. BRMS and Robot Save will apply to using these tapes within the virtual tape library. The VTL LaserVault Vital solution also comes with this really simple to use web interface that I'm going to log into with my username and password. So I'm going to go real quick to libraries, and we have two virtual tape libraries defined here in Laser Vault, and I'll discuss the differences between the two because there actually are differences between these two tape libraries. So let's edit this first library. You can provide a name of the tape library. So let's say you have a tape library assigned to different partitions. You could have the name of the partition for this tape library up here for the library name, production, development, whatever. This is the path to the library. So this is where you have the opportunity to change this path to the disk storage that is available to Laser Vault for storing your virtual tapes and your backups. In this particular example, I'm running Laser Vault on a Windows server with storage on that server. So it has a disk array called the E volume, the E drive, and that has X amount of terabytes of disk on it, and I have a folder out there for storing those tapes. Instead, this could be a UNC path to network attached storage or deduplication appliance. In that case, the tapes and the backups would reside in that storage, and that would be your library path. The export path, I'll show you that feature when we go look at the actual library itself. The export path, the export function, giving you the ability to take a tape out of the inventory or take it out of the tape library and store it somewhere else. It could be a tape that you're storing for 7 years or 5 years, and you just want to take it out of the inventory and store it. In this case, I'm writing it directly to Microsoft Azure Cloud Path. So this is cloud storage in which that tape is being exported. And then, of course, you can always go back and import that tape if you need to restore from it. We're emulating Ultra NPiv. This has zero to do with speed or the amount of space that a tape can use, because again, even though we're emulating Ultra NPiv, you can write as much data to one tape, so your full backup will always take one tape. And again, it has nothing to do with speed either. It's going to write, the 550 megabyte a second is the potential you have for your backup speed. The number of storage slots. This is pretty cool because it goes all the way up to 16,000 storage slots, which is the number of tapes that you can add and have and use in the tape library, the virtual tape library. And what's really cool is you can go back and increase this number anytime that you want, up to 16,356, I believe is the exact number. But you can go and create more storage slots if you need more tapes. If you add other partitions, you've got, you're adding more tapes into the rotation, you can always go and increase that, something you really can't do with a physical tape library. The software has some features like data block file count, write cache, and read cache. Those are all designed to increase the speed of the backup. The data block file count is like a multi-threading process that writes the data out to multiple files at the same time, even though there's still just one tape. That's for speed. Write cache and read cache. Write cache is for speed on the saves themselves. Read cache for the restores. The software has compression. It averages 5:1, and it will compress during the backup and will not slow down your backup. The software has encryption, and your encryption key goes here. So the data as it's being written to disk will be encrypted based on that encryption key. When you do a restore using that, and it'll use that key to do a restore, it'll automatically restore the data. It has the key ready to go to unencrypt the data during a restore. If you replicate those backups, they're compressed, encrypted. They will replicate encrypted and compressed to the alternate storage, say offsite storage, cloud storage, whatever the case might be, co-location storage, whatever. The replication and retention is here. I have 3 examples of replicating your backups, and that's something that Laser Vault Vital can do automatically. So if you're writing to something like network attached storage, deduplication appliance, anything that already does replication, you could go ahead and use the replication that's included with your current backup solution and backup storage. This is included with Laser Vault in case you need to use replication, and you can build that replication within Laser Vault. I have 3 examples. Network paths, so I'm writing from one storage platform to another at another location. maybe 2 Windows servers that have storage, or 2 NAS or SANs that I'm storing the tapes, and I replicate from one to the other. It also has retention that you can set for both the local saves and also for the saves that you're copying. Then I have 2 other examples replicating to Amazon S3 and Microsoft Azure. So I could run 2 of these replication jobs at the same time if I wanted to. I could do the network path, which would replicate to another SAN or NAS or laser vault device, as well as replicate to the cloud. So you could actually create 2 copies of the backup. And Microsoft Azure is another example of where you can replicate the backups. And you can also replicate based on the volume prefix. You can replicate all volumes or the latest number of volumes. And you can also set your retention based on age or number of volumes. So you can set local retention as well as remote retention. So it's really pretty simple to set that up, and it's going to be a completely automated scheduled process that's going to run when the backup completes to replicate those tapes. Let's take a look at this option here. This is going to show you, if you're using laser vault replication, it's going to show you any replication jobs that are currently running and those that have already completed. Let's take a look at library 1. Now this is where we're using this as an MLB on the iSeries side with that drive that I showed you back here on this screen, TAP V1 and TAP MLB V1. That represents this library here where you see the drive at the top under drive 1 and all the tapes that are in inventory down here below and all the different slots. It's really simple to create tapes. Click this button, put in a volume prefix, create multiple tape images if you want. You can also let it go ahead and initialize those tapes if you want it to. You can specify the next slot number. In this case, the next slot number available is 30, and this is the remaining number of slots, so I can put, up to 19 additional tapes based on that prefix into the slots. And once you do that, it of course is going to automatically update the inventory, and when you go look at those, you'll be able to see those tapes on the iSeries as inserted into the tape library as new tapes once you create them. Some of the other features you have: move. You can move a tape to the drive. So now that tape is loaded in the drive. If that was a full system save, you could IPL from that. So you could use this tape device to IPL the system and restore the data from that full system save on that tape. What's really cool too is you can click on labels and it'll show you all the libraries that are in that save as well as the size of those libraries, which, BRMS and Robot Save give you this information. But if you needed to load a tape manually, you wanted to see what was on it first, you can click labels and it'll show you everything that's on the tape. As an administrator, I have the delete option, the export option, which would take the tape from the inventory to the export path. Protect the tape. Now you can do this from the iSeries too. There's a command to protect the tape, so it cannot be initialized, overwritten, or deleted. It can't be deleted from here either if it's protected. An administrator has these options here to protect the tape. So you can click on protect the tape, labels of course. Now if you exported any tapes, you can click the import button. So this is going to my cloud storage. This is actually my cloud storage path to Microsoft Azure. So I do have one tape out there that's been exported, tape 16. I can check that tape, click import, and that brings it back from cloud storage and is going to add it to an empty available slot into the tape library. But again, because it emulates a tape library, the tapes get automatically loaded into the drive to do restore or save. It's completely automated. Now, another way to use Laser Vault Vital is using it as a tape device. And using it as a tape device would mean, say you're not using Robot Save or BRMS, you're using any of the Go Save commands, save library, save object. Well, this allows you to do a couple of different things. One, you can create a tape before your backup runs, we have a command on the iSeries called create tape UBD, and that create tape command gives you the ability to create a new tape for a backup to be created, for a backup to be saved. So this command is create tape UBD, so TAPv2, put in the name of your tape volume, which is 6 characters, just like any other tape, and then you can specify whether or not you want to initialize that tape. So you could automate the process of creating a tape for the night's backup. It gets loaded into the drive. You can specify to initialize it, and it would load it right into the drive, and your save would run using TAPv2 or TAP02, whatever yours is set, whatever your device description is. So this is pretty cool because you can use it as a regular tape device, use this to create your tapes every day, and then your backup runs. And then, of course, with retention, you can set how long you want to store those particular tapes. We also have another command called load tape UBD. So I use TAPv2 and then put the name of the tape here, which is the 6-character volume ID of the tape that I want to load. And if I wanted to load it to restore, I would of course do initialize no. But again, back here you can take any one of these tapes that are here available and move those into the drive. If you were to say to create your rotation of tapes and name them the way you want, you could use this command to load the next tape that you want for that day's backup, and it would save to it. So if you had a daily rotation of tapes and you had them already in the system and all you needed to do was just load them, you could create a simple CL program that would automatically load the next day's tape, initialize it, and then perform the save. So you can either create new tapes every day or rotate through tapes that you've added that you want to use for your rotations. So either way, it makes life a lot simpler because everything is done automatically. All your tapes are always available in your virtual tape library to restore from, where you can add more tapes. So it really gives you a lot more flexibility in having to, say, work from home, not having to deal with tapes, not having to worry about your backup solution with physical tape, because you're able to save it to disk. It's going to be a much more reliable, faster, easier to use solution that doesn't require you to be on site. All right. Okay, so we've taken a look at that. Again, let's talk about the actual product and the environment that it's going to run in. So again, I'd mentioned that the Vital solution runs in a Windows environment, whether that's a physical server or virtual. Okay, so you have those two options there in terms of installing the software either on a physical server that's running Windows, usually Windows 2019 Server OS, or a VM running the same operating system. Now, the connection from LaserVault to the iSeries needs to be fiber channel or SAS, just exactly the same way you would connect an external tape device or an external tape library. So just remember that when you're looking at using LaserVault Vital in a VM, that your server that's hosting the VM would have a PCIe slot for either the fiber channel or SAS HBA, so that you can make that connection to the iSeries. So that's the one requirement for the using LaserVault in a VM solution, which we have lots of customers doing that, but they did have the PCIe slot for either the fiber channel card or the SAS card. And once you make that connection to the iSeries with auto configuration turned on, you'll automatically get a new tape device or tape library that you're able to use for LaserVault. So it's a really automated way to create that tape, that new tape device to use with your backups. I'm also showing another, so let's say in this particular example, we're using 2 LaserVault servers, one for production backups, the second one as a DR server, and you can have all the tapes replicate from one server to the other. It's also connected to an iSeries so that it has a tape device available, and all the tapes are available to that iSeries, that disaster recovery iSeries machine. I'm also showing some options to go to tape. This option is our tape out feature. So what I've done here is I've connected a tape device to the LaserVault server, done a tape out, and that tape can be used in an IBM tape drive to do a restore, do an IPL, whatever. But that is our tape out feature and gives you the ability to create a tape if you needed to do that. And we do have some customers that do dupe tape, which would copy from LaserVault to your existing tape drive on your iSeries, and that is their second copy. So we do have some customers that do that. The coup de grace would be that you have the ability to make copies of your backups to disk, whether it's at a DR location, cloud storage, co-location, maybe SunGuard if you're using them for disaster recovery. But that that gives you the capability of having the actual files that you can use to recover, which the files are the virtual tapes themselves. LaserVault does support NPiv, so that means that in the case of LaserVault, you would have a 16 gig fiber channel port on the LaserVault server, and that could give you up to 15 virtual devices, whether that's one tape library with 15 drives or 15 tape libraries with one drive each. It gives you the ability to zone those worldwide port names to your different partitions so that they have access to the single tape library with all the drives, or it has access to its own tape library with its own drive. But it gives you the ability to create multiple tape devices per fiber channel connection on LaserVault, and that works with 8 gig or 16 gig fiber channel. Okay, so UBD in vital mode, basically the exact same process. The only difference is you're using the same software. The only difference is you're using this as a tape device instead of a tape library. And you get all the capabilities of replication, the tape out capability, dupe tape, IPL, full system saves in restricted state, encryption, compression, everything that using it as a tape library provides, you can also use if you're using it as a tape device. So here we talk a little bit more about NPiv and having a switch between LaserVault and the iSeries. And this would be that you're zoning those fiber channel ports to the iSeries. However many worldwide port names that are created, again, up to 15 virtual devices per fiber channel port on LaserVault, so that it can give you, more devices that you may need for parallel saves, to be able to save using from multiple partitions at the same time, being that they can each use their own virtual tape device to perform their saves. This also gives a little diagram here on auto replicate, which is available in LaserVault, and cloud storage would be an option to auto replicate. Also being able to write to a SAN or NAS using LaserVault as a gateway, where LaserVault doesn't have the storage, it's using your SAN or NAS storage through an SMB share in order to access that storage and save those tapes for your backups. Okay, so we'd love to get together with you one-on-one over the phone and do a custom demo to go over exactly how the product would work in your environment. We'd love to ask you lots of questions about your iSeries environment, your current backup procedures, what you're using for your backup, how much data that you're currently backing up, what you would like to do in terms of replication, storage, whether or not you want to use the solution in a VM or a dedicated server. So really all that, we can put all that together for you in a demo, show you exactly how everything's going to work, get you pricing information after that discussion so that you know exactly what your investment will be. All of our software licenses are one-time perpetual license fees, which is nice. You don't have a subscription fee every year. We do have maintenance and support. But the license fee is perpetual, so that means it's a one-time fee, your investment in order to, and you can also do financing, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So look for that in an email to see a demo, and you get a $25 Uber Eats gift card, which is cool. So questions, quotes, custom demo, this is our contact information, info@laservault.com. That 1001 extension is my direct extension if you wanted to call me directly, but you can also reach our sales staff at info@laservault.com. There's some download specification there's some technical specification documents in the download on the GoToWebinar panel, so you can download those, take a look at more detailed information. Pricing we can definitely provide license fees for the software, hardware solutions, whether it's a server with storage, a gateway server, fiber channel, HBAs, SAS HBAs for the Windows side. We also work with many IBM business partners. So if you would like to work through your IBM business partner for this solution, let's say you're looking at a new Power 9 machine for this year, next year, in the near future, you can work with your IBM business partner to include this with your new Power 9 purchase, including IBM Global Financing. So all that, instead of a tape device or a tape library that you purchase with your Power 9, you can include LaserVault instead, and we can work through your business partner as a reseller. We can work with any IBM business partner that can work with us in order to include all of that in your Power 9 purchase. Okay, so really, thanks everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, let us know, info@laservault.com. You'd like to set up a demo, that'd be great. And we're giving away a Bluetooth speaker, a Bose SoundLink speaker. So look for that in an email if you are the winner of that speaker in that drawing. Wanted to thank everyone for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.